Hey guys, welcome to my Watch Dogs 2 review, my thoughts on kind of thing. I was going to do an edited video like I usually do, but I just want to talk about the game rather than do that right now, because hence why it's called my thoughts on it. But yeah, all in all, the game is really good. The reviews are actually pretty good right now as far as I can see. It's a lot better than the first game. I do think the first game had a better tone, but the second game overall, everything about it is better, especially the soundtrack. Jeez, I love the music on this game. But let me get right into it. So, why is it better? It's better because the story's actually interesting. I actually didn't really mind Aiden Pearce on the first game. I know everybody gave him some flack, but I thought it was okay. I thought the story was a lot better. I like the whole teamwork aspect, and the characters are actually somewhat interesting. They were a bit kooky and a bit too kind of like, hey, look, these guys are so edgy, and some of the writing was a bit cringy, I will be honest, some of the stuff they said. But again, I'm not American, so I don't know if they do say stuff like, that is so metal, and whatever, some of the stuff they said. But all in all, the banter and the way they interacted with each other was really good. Especially the motion, like the facial, the way the mouths move and stuff. I can't think of the goddamn name right now. That and the voice acting, everything about it. The acting was really well acted. I feel like the word fuck was probably used a bit more than they probably should have, and it kind of got a bit grating sometimes. But aside from that, like the characterization of the story was a big positive, one of the best things about the game. Though, now here's my downside to that aspect of the game though. The problem I had with it was pretty early on. Later on I kind of got used to it, but let me put into context here. And again, if you're gonna play the game, it's not really a big spoiler because it's not a big deal. It's just an early mission. So you play as this guy at the start, and you have a stun gun, and you're a hacker, and you're going around. You just you're against the system, man. You're just like stunning people. You're not actually killing anyone, right? Then the second you get to the second or third mission, you basically have to steal something from like a warehouse or whatever. Now, this is where the game got a bit weird for me, because I went into this warehouse and I tried to stun these guys. And anyway, they started shooting at me. I'm like, oh crap. And bear in mind, these are policemen, these are security men on the game. So I pull out my gun and I killed every single person in that room. And there were about 15. I killed all these policemen just to steal, I'll just tell you, it doesn't really matter, just to steal a car you steal the car so you can use it to get followers. So I've essentially killed 15 policemen who were doing their jobs for followers. And don't get me wrong, it's a game, I know, it's just a video game, who cares, right? But I feel like the context was just a bit odd. Because I don't know how old the characters are in the game, but they feel like they're pretty young. So I'm playing as this young dude going in his warehouse, shooting up 15 policemen. You get in the car and he's like, woo, we got the car, yeah! And it was just really odd to me. Like, if that was a movie or a TV show, I don't think you would react really positively. You know what I mean? I just thought it was really odd. It definitely got more easier as it went on, because I felt like there actually was some sort of conflict. I guess that's the problem. There wasn't really any conflict at the start. The Bloom guys weren't even anything to do with that mission, which I'm telling you about. So maybe that's why it felt weird. Whereas later on, it did feel like, there are bad guys and we are fighting bad guys, etc. But that was one big issue I had with it. Probably my biggest issue, to be honest. But the setting and the tone for the most part is pretty interesting and pretty cool. I do like the random interactions on San Francisco. The setting is awesome. Like, I've been to San Francisco once, so it was actually really cool trying to find the places that I visited, I mean, I don't know if you'd be super interested if you've never been, and again, I've only been to, I'm only there for a couple of days, but for me, I was like, oh yeah, I want to see where I went. I remember going on this and looking at the Golden Gate Bridge, and it does look really nice. I don't think the graphics are super incredible compared to a lot of games that I've played, but they're pretty decent. I mean, it is an Ubisoft game, and the graphics tend to never be super amazing, so I mean, that's fair enough, isn't it? The Eagle Vision thing's really cool as well. To be honest, this game is Assassin's Creed in the future, or modern day, whatever you want to say. It basically is that game. The Eagle Vision is pretty much the exact same thing, apart from when you do it, you see all the hacking stuff, all the things you can interact with, people's bank accounts, things you can steal, all that information, that kind of thing, which is pretty interesting. And I also really like the fast travel part. I love that you can just fast travel to most places, because I'm not a big fan of driving around everywhere, because I'm really impatient. So that was actually pretty good for me. That's some things I didn't like about the game, though. I didn't like when you had to hack the cameras. Hacking the cameras parts, I don't think hacking is that fun. You know what I mean? Like, I like pressing L1 and someone's phone beeps and you shoot them in the head. Or, you mess with the traffic, or you can make a car drive by itself, whatever. That kind of thing's awesome. And the little drones as well are pretty cool. But when you actually go inside the security cams, you have to swap from this camera to this camera to get this. I just didn't really think it was that fun. especially with the puzzles as well. There were so many of these little puzzles you had to do, these hacking puzzles, and they weren't that fun. Apart from one part in the game where you had to do this puzzle under a lot of pressure, and it was so tense. I'm not even just saying this, like, just for the effect, but I literally did it with 1 second left, and my heart was pounding. I remember doing it, and I went, holy fuck, as if I just did that, holy shit, and that was like a really powerful moment for me, because it was such an intense part of the game. So I did really enjoy that bit. So yeah, like that part was great, and that was one part where I feel the hacking thing actually worked really well. But I didn't like how there was no pausing though. I mean, I text a lot, so I couldn't pause my game, and I remember doing a mission like, oh shit, my phone's ringing, and I pressed start, and it brought up my whatchamacallit, my phone. But then I did realize if you go onto game options that you can just pause a game, so I guess that's not even a complaint really, is it? It's just me being a moron. And now, this wasn't really an issue anymore, but there was really bad frame rate issues. I had 2 missions where the game was it was unplayable. It was going like 5 FPS. I don't know what happened. It was even freezing. But that's my fault because apparently they disabled, well, they didn't disable it, but they said online features are basically messing up the game. So once I restarted the game and I took off all the online features, the game ran, you know, perfectly again with all the frames, etc. So yeah, that was kind of a bit lame because it was a really good mission as well when it was happening, and it really took me out of it. And yeah, there was a point where the game was unplayable and I almost didn't want to play it, but then I realized, oh wait, maybe I've got to, maybe I'll just restart the game. And that's when I noticed a message saying, yeah, this is being a problem, sorry about that. So, whatever, fair enough. You've got to bear in mind that I am a kind of person who just plays through the story. I don't really do much side quests or side missions unless I really care about the game. And I mean, I like Watch Dogs 2, but I'm not super invested to the point where I'm going to do all the side content. I haven't got time anyway. And which is kind of a problem though, for someone like me at least, because a lot of these powers, I mean, like, the hacking abilities you actually get from finding them or unlocking them on different islands and different locations. And I never did that. I was never bothered. So I never even got to use all of the hacking stuff, or even any of the good ones. I used way more hacking abilities in the first game. Now again, that's my fault for not going to the areas to get them or the side missions, but I really wish progression was just the same how it was in the first game, where you just kind of unlock them as you go, because I'm not interested in going to some island when, like, no, I mean, I'm interested in the main story, I'm invested, I'm like, yes, I want to do this mission, I want to see what happens next. I don't want to spend half an hour going to an island, getting some things so I can use the blackout, for example, which I never even got to use, which I used in the first game. So for me at least, I felt like I used the hacking way more in the first game, although the hacking was a lot better for enemies and stuff, I found. You just hold L1, you press the button, and boom, their phone goes off and you can kill them. Speaking of enemies though, there are these really OP guys. They're these big tanky dudes, and they're so OP. There was a point where I actually had to turn the difficulty down to easy for one mission because I just couldn't do it. And same with the ending. In the ending, I kind of actually cheesed it. Is that the correct term? Because all these guys come down. I know I'm kind of spoiling it, but I mean, come on, it's the last level. There's going to be loads of guys. There's loads of guys came down, and yeah, I guess you're supposed to fight your way through. I hid for like 40 seconds. They all ran past, so I walked past me a bit, and I legged it. I just ran. Now, I was getting shot at for sure, but I somehow survived and got to the door, and then I beat the game. So the last mission for me was a bit underwhelming. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, then I guess I beat that game. Oh boy. But all in all, I mean, I think it was a really fun game. There were some parts which were, you know, the very stressful to me, the difficulty spikes. There was 2 missions in particular where I just thought they were really unfair. I didn't really know what to do, but that's kind of my own fault because I didn't utilize all my hacking stuff. Then the second that I realized, oh wait, I can send my drone in here, you know, turn on this, go to the camera, and then hack that, and then all I gotta do then is pick up this item. And once I realized that, I was like, oh my god, I'm an idiot. But again, I mean, that's just personal preference because I'm the type of guy who just likes running into stuff. You know, I don't really like hanging back and calculating things and whatever. So that's more my preference. So I think most people probably won't they won't have a problem with that. That was just me being an idiot, I guess. But I don't know. All in all, it was a really fun game. The parkour was actually really useful. It didn't seem like a big deal, and for me, it wasn't a big deal. I don't know if they marketed the game that well, because I've actually never seen a trailer apart from the footage that I'm playing right now. I just watched it but I've already beat the game, so. But I didn't know if they marketed it as, you know, they have loads of parkour and you can do all this stuff in parkour. I have no idea. But for me, just having that parkour just made a big difference. You can just hold it and then there you go, you jumped over something and it made a big difference. It definitely felt very Assassin's Creedy, but it helped a lot and the controls were pretty tight. And honestly, it was, everything about it was pretty good. Apart from the few issues that I had about the tone at the start, and it's like some of the writing being a bit cringe and some of the stuff like that. But I mean, it's a lot better than a lot of games that I've played recently, and especially since it's a AAA game from Ubisoft, you gotta remember. Not very much luck really with, you know, completely fulfilling everyone's needs in terms of gaming and that. Well, then again, I guess The Division was pretty good, but yeah, all in all, I think it's pretty fun. I'd definitely recommend checking it out. I don't know if I would spend $50 on it though. I was lucky because I got it for free because I'm a YouTuber or whatever, because I'm just such a goon. But I don't know, honestly, I don't think I probably would have bought the game for $50 or 50 quid or however how much it is. So that's kind of up to you if you got the money to spare, because yeah, I probably wouldn't buy a game for that much, for just playing the story through like that. But it was good, so maybe wait until it's down a little bit. But again, if you got money to spare and you want a game with a good story, and actual pretty cool characters, to be honest, and there is a lot of side content, which I might actually get around to doing. I don't know yet. I might sit down and do it. But yeah, then you should go check it out. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.